Hi guys, it's a beautiful day once again and welcome back to Dexter's World channel. Today is a Saturday and as you can see here, we have ample time to vlog. Actually, during Saturdays, I really deem it very necessary to make a vlog and for the longest time, we are maximizing our time during Saturdays. And I am here situated in the circular tank. Of course, you know that we have here catfish and we also have this now, the bottle gourd. You'll see this bottle gourd that's already bearing fruits. And this portion here is actually filled with bottle gourds now. And I can see many fruits that are already appearing. And this is one of the practical things that we can do if you are a farmer. If you have the small space, then you can utilize that by means of hanging your vegetables and we will do the harvest. But this is not the real content of this video. The content of this video is actually to tell you about the 7 mistakes, common mistakes that a catfish breeder will commit during the natural breeding. So before that, I would like to let you see our produced here. I will cut this 2 bottle gourd for our breakfast. And come on, let's do this. And afterwards, we will discuss the 7 common mistakes that a breeder, a catfish breeder could commit. So we will cut this one. See, very fresh. And this bottle gourd should be harvested when it's young, because if it's not young anymore, then we cannot anymore eat that because it's hard. Cody, please cut that bigger one here. The agidi, ano? And this will be good for our breakfast. Say hi to my vlog, Cody. Hi. Very shy guy. So I have this 2 bottle gourd, and if you can see right here, we also have young bottle gourds that are already sprouting. See that? We have here one, I can see a dozen of them. Actually, we have here as well. Oh, why are you leading on that? See? Wow, it's amazing. And these amazing things can be happening if you are really pursuing it, if you are, you know, your passion is intact, your determination is unwavering. So this is it. And now we will go to the tank of our catfish and we will see the updates of our fry. And there, I will tell you about the 7 common mistakes that a catfish breeder will commit. Come on, let's go. The first mistake that a catfish breeder can commit is when he's going to breed prematurely. Meaning that the breeder is actually that young that could not produce good offspring. So the next question that maybe you will ask is, what is the correct age for the catfish breeders to breed? In my case, I am breeding catfish at the age of 2 years old and above, at least 2 years old. Because if we will breed that prematurely, they cannot produce good offspring. And worse than that, they will not lay their eggs. So my experience of breeding catfish is actually getting better now because of the journal that I normally do when I'm going to breed the catfish. So in my journal, I always see the age as the greatest factor in natural breeding of catfish. So if you're gonna breed your catfish, you will breed the catfish which are matured at least 2 years old. The second common mistake that a catfish farmer shall commit when breeding the catfish is breeding them without water preparation. Yes, that's true. Because water preparation in catfish breeding, natural breeding, is really very important. So maybe you will ask, how do we prepare the water? Well, in my case, I always say that it's good to use water from the rain or the rainwater when breeding your catfish. But if you don't have rainwater, maybe you are in the desert, maybe you are in a place where the rain is really very scarce, then I will advise to prepare your water with the chlorine. You can use chlorinated water, but of course you have to age that. In preparing the water, you have to use the submersible pump that is connected to filtration buckets. So you will see at my back, I really have made a DIY filtration bucket, and that's already good. So what you're gonna do is to use the chlorinated water, but then you cannot use that immediately. You have to age that for at least 5 days so that you will become sure that the water is really ready now for the breeding, and that's effective. Because in my journal, I use sometime before, I use chlorinated water, run it with a filter, connect that filter, the submersible pump, to a filter bucket, and then put some stones, and then after 5 days I put all the breeders, and then it was so effective. I have produced thousands of catfish in a natural breeding method. Common mistake that a farmer of catfish can commit is when he is breeding the breeder catfish without proper conditioning. And proper conditioning entails so many aspects. The first aspect that I'm going to tell you is that when you are going to properly condition your breeder, you have to separate that male from the female catfish. So the separation would actually give you a better result. Why? Because this catfish will concentrate on eating the food and they are not disturbed, especially the female. They are not disturbed by the males. Because if you are not going to separate them, chances are they will lay the eggs beyond your control. Because if they will feel that the water condition is good, then sometimes they will breed and they will lay eggs, and it will spoil the tank. So the conditioning of the breeders is actually giving them food, separating the male from the female, and this is what we did. So we are feeding a lot of food, a lot of protein food to our breeders before we schedule them for breeding. These are all male catfish. The fourth mistake that a catfish farmer can commit is when he is going to breed the catfish in an unprepared tank. Yes, that's true. Because sometimes you have already used a clean water, you have used already the breeders, you have conditioned them, your spawning tank is not prepared. So how would you know that you are preparing a good tank? Well, the first thing that you will have in mind is, of course, to make a tank which is very spacious. A spacious tank can encourage, can entice, and can motivate the catfish to breed. So my spawning tank here is just small, but it's good enough for breeding. It only measures around 4 meters by 8 meters. 4 by 8, that's already good. So if you have that 4 by 8 meters as your breeding or spawning tank, then I am sure that your catfish, given all that what I have discussed earlier, would really spawn their egg. The fifth common mistake that a farmer can commit is when he is going to put extra female or extra male in the spawning tank. So my principle in breeding naturally this catfish is one-on-one, by pair. So in your 4 by 8 tank, you can put at least 3 females and 3 males. Do not put extra. Why? Because they will fight. So the one that has no partner will, make a mess. He will create trouble and vice versa. So I always put good, perfect pair in the spawning tank. So if you're gonna put 5 females, you're gonna put also 5 males. And this is already good. But in a 4 by 8 tank, I don't advise putting 5 males and 5 females. I will advise in a 4 by 8 tank, you will only use 2, at least 2 pairs. 2 female and 2 male catfish, so that you will preserve the water. Because if you will put plenty of males, then there is a tendency that the water will become contaminated, because these males can produce millions of milk, and the milk will spoil the water if this is already over, meaning more than what is needed. So you only have to put 2 pairs in a 4 by 8 tank. Another thing that you can commit as a catfish breeder is breeding your catfish without egg collector. And I'm using the net as my egg collector. You see that? This is already a prepared net for the breeding of our catfish tonight. And I put some weight here. And we already have disinfected this one. And I will tell you the reason why you're gonna have to use the net. The first reason actually is to entice the breeder to lay the eggs. Because if you don't want to put the net, or if you will not use this one, the catfish will feel not secured. They will become insecure. Why? Because they don't have the place where to lay their eggs. So if you're gonna put them here, they will be enticed, and as soon as they will feel that there is haven for the eggs, then they will really spawn their eggs. And the second major purpose of why we're gonna use this one is for us to be able to get all the unhatched eggs, because the eggs will just stick to here, and then if they're unhatched, we have to immediately remove that. And if they are actually stick to the net, you can easily remove it without disturbing the newly hatched fry of your catfish. And the last major mistake that a catfish breeder can commit is when he is breeding the catfish without air pump. Yes, that's true. If you can provide, during the breeding, if you can provide submersible pump, good oxygenation of the water, it's really good. But then, of course, if the pump or the breeder catfish have already laid their eggs, you have to switch that off and then put a submersible, not submersible, air pump. you have to aerate the egg so that it will hatch easily and quickly. So the spawning tank also should be covered because if the rain comes, it will also rotten the eggs. So these simple tips that I showed or revealed to you is actually a product of a 5-year research of experimentation, trial and error process, and these are the things that I have observed. So if you can follow the 7 principles to evade or to correct the wrong practices, then I believe that you will really become successful in your catfish industry. You know, catfish industry is one of the growing demands globally because these catfish have good meats and they are quick and easy to multiply and produce. So these are all the things that we can share. I hope that you will continue to like and share our videos. And if you are not subscribed to this channel, may I humbly ask you to please subscribe and hit that notification bell because we're uploading videos very regularly. And of course, if you will subscribe, you will be notified of our future uploads. I would like to see you in my next video on here at Dexter's World.